Money makes the world go round.
Yeah, money is God. It's the one everyone worships, no matter what else you believe in.
Is money going to ultimately be where we end up if we ever achieve balance with the planet? Are we going to be using money at that point? I don't know. Because one thing I noticed about money is that it seems to ramp, or at least capitalism. I'm not sure about money, but I don't think you can have money without some form of capitalism emerging. Is it seems to ramp up the rate at which we just spend resources from the planet, much higher than it would be if we didn't have money. Because money is a mechanism for exchange. It makes it easier to exchange goods and services and material and whatnot. But then everything becomes so easy to obtain that we start to waste. You end up buying things you don't need and they just get wasted. And while some people are going through the process of wasting the planet unnecessarily because they're consuming things they don't need, other people are going without, and it seems to be inherently unfair, and it's just simply brought on by the simple fact that you can make money with money. Lending money, or having assets rather, allows you to acquire more assets. So if you happen to have more assets in the first place, if time was on your side, if your family was on your side, if the part of the world that you lived in was on your side, if you have those assets in the first place, you can use those assets to acquire more assets. Assets equals either money or material wealth. And a lot of it just goes to waste, especially when you consider you can't take any of it with you when you die. So it seems to me that money fosters an unequal distribution of wealth. On the plus side, it does.
And it's getting very extreme these days as well, I'd like to say.
Yeah. On the
Definitely
plus side,
in recent times it's got very extreme.
On the plus side, it allows self-organising systems. We don't have to organise where resources are directed explicitly based off need, because all these signals are sent to the central, supplier of such a resource via pricing and how much people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, but this is wrong. Don't you see that this is completely wrong? And actually we should be organising it in terms of what people actually need and where they need it. And we're not. And that is wrong.
But that process how would you verify that process? That the benefit of money is that it does self-organise, and so therefore you don't have the problem where you fuck up the organisation, the central authority. This is communism, by the way, now. Communism says we're going to give everything to people based off what they need, yeah?
Yeah. In theory, that's a bloody good idea.
In practice, it's absolute logistical nightmare.
Why? Why is it? Why is it? Because people are greedy, that's why.
Well, that's one aspect, and I wasn't talking about that aspect of it. I'm talking about the logistics. The logistics of providing everything based off the needs of people. The logistics of that is that somebody, somewhere, some centralised body has to work out what everyone needs. And that's quite a hard thing to do when you've got millions of people to deal with. Which is why I think communism has never really worked on a massive scale. I'm not against it on a sort of go and live in a commune with hippies. That's fine. It seems to work fine. You scale it up to the size of countries, it seems to break down. And you get corruption, because obviously these people in the central authority locations which are organising all this stuff take liberties. Because they would, wouldn't they? At least some of them would. Maybe not all of them, but some of them would, and they're going to be corrupt. And so it's open to corruption as well, and so the whole thing goes basically tits up.
Yeah, but don't you see that the way we're doing it is actually corrupt completely? So why is that any worse?
It's corruption, but the corruption doesn't threaten the system, whereas in communism it does threaten the system.
Yeah, but it needs to be threatened. That's what I'm saying. The system is wrong.
Well, my point is that neither system works particularly well, and this is what I'm thinking.
And it boils down to greed.
How do we send the signals of need imagine a massive network of people all interacting with one another through some kind of network. I don't know. Someone needs something. Like, I need food, or I need water, clean water. I need somewhere to live, yeah? And then someone else somewhere maybe has some clean water or some food or an excess of places to live, and they have an excess, yeah? And how does person A connect with person B? In the financial world, person A, the provider, yeah, is going to be looking to make money, and person B, the person who needs all this stuff, is going to have some money to be able to spend, and and so they connect up that way. And so, like, you've got systems of advertising and going, hey, look at me, I've got some shit, go and buy it off me, and then that's sort of in the they both get sort of some kind of benefit from this. But you take away money, then you're taking away a signalling mechanism, and it has to replace with another signalling mechanism, and I just don't know what that new signalling mechanism should be.
That's never going to happen, honey, because of greed. It's that simple. The fact of the matter is, we didn't evolve to see a picture as large as that, and to take into account the needs of someone in a different country.
But it has to happen.
So what we tend to do is hide from it, or turn our backs on it, or just ignore it. It's not that we don't know these days, because we do know the situation of a vast amount of the people in the world is very dire, not good.
No.
It's nasty, right?
That's
but we don't take any. No, it's not. It's not at all. It's not at all. Actually,
negative information.
It's true. That is all right. There are people in this world that literally do not have enough food or water that die because of that reason, yeah? And I'm not just talking about Africa. I'm talking about South America. I'm talking about people in the Middle East. I'm talking about, millions and millions of people.
Yes,
and we fail to look at it properly.
We don't fail
We
to
ignore
look at it. We are constantly told about this type of thing. We don't fail to look at it. The issue is not that we're not looking. The issue is that...
What, are we desensitised then?
No. The issue is simply financial.
What do you mean?
It's that our financial structures are not set up to sort of provide based off need. They're set up to provide based off, if you have assets, then we will exchange some assets for some other assets.
It's pure greed.
Well,
people are greedy.
The system is at fault, I would say. People aren't greedy.
Yes, they are.
No.
Yes, they are. That's it. I mean, no one needs billions of dollars in the bank. No one.
I don't have billions of dollars.
No, but I'm not just pointing it at us. I'm pointing it at people, like really wealthy people. No one person needs that amount of money. Okay?
Right.
That is way beyond need.
Okay, listen to
And what are they using it for? They're not using it.
Yeah, right.
And there are people that are starving in the world.
Some people are greedy.
Yes.
Majority are not.
Yes, but some people own about 50% of the wealth in the world. That's it.
Yeah.
It's very few people own, I think I saw this statistic a little while ago where it's something like 50% of the world's wealth is owned by the top 10% or something. That's it. That's disgraceful. And you're talking about people that are worth billions, that are just sitting on it, essentially.
Well, if they don't retain their assets, they don't retain the ability to get more assets.
Yeah, but why do they need any more? That's what needs to be stopped.
Okay, the human nature.
That's what needs to be stopped. Yeah.
With having more than what you need is, in a nutshell, the winter.
Yes, I know all this. Right. That's great, but this is completely an extreme of that notion, yeah?
Yes.
And something that is above and beyond anything that is reasonable in that way, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah? When there are people in the world that haven't even got enough fucking food to eat, then they should be ashamed of themselves for just sitting on that. Absolutely, I think it's disgusting.
But the system promotes this.
Yes, well, that's what needs to go.
Yeah.
That's what needs to go. Money is a corrupter, big time.
Okay, right, we've established that. another thing I want to say about human nature is that if you do get the odd overly greedy person, they are going to get isolated. If they're in a small group and you get one greedy person, the greedy person gets isolated because he won't share with anyone else, so therefore they won't share with him. And so he becomes isolated and therefore vulnerable. So the fact that we're not in small groups has actually allowed us to promote greedy people, because we can't get a grip on who these people are anymore. We can't name and shame them. They're too anonymous because of the sheer number of
the really wealthy ones. I'm not talking millionaires, I'm talking billionaires. You don't hear their names in the news. They're unheard of, the people that are really rich in this world. Okay? They know better than to actually promote themselves, basically. Because,
So anyway, these greedy people, you can imagine what happens. These greedy people realise they've become isolated from the rest of the group. So what do? Well, either they're just vulnerable and they die off, or occasionally they might think to themselves, I know what I need to do. I'm going to use my hoard to get myself some lackeys to do my dirty work, and they're going to go around. In fact, they're going to pay for themselves because I'm going to get them to go around extracting monies from other people, extracting wealth from other people via force. Yeah, basically you got the introduction of tax and the warlord system. Yeah, the feudal system, and that's the beginning of the problem. But of course, these days things have moved on a little bit in the sense that the warlord has set up a financial system. The pound. The Queen is on the front of every single pound. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, the warlord has set up the financial system in which actually promotes the idea of greed, the thing which got them to where they were in the first place.
It's all very sick when you think about it. It's all very twisted.
And then everyone becomes isolated from each other.
Yeah.
Because we're all struggling to keep up with each other's greediness. What we don't realise is that if we all just work together, it would be awesome. And this is why we find it so hard to think, how the hell is the world going to come together in peace and harmony? Well, it's already sort of moved away from peace and harmony by the natural processes that have taken place over time. And it's, obviously it has to come back to peace and harmony, but, the question is, the ultimate question is, how is culture going to reorganise in order for that to happen? And I think, if you're going to express something into the cultural mind, these types of ideas are useful things to put out there if we have any ideas. So I think the problem with money is that you can accumulate it. It's a good signaller. It's a good self-organising signalling system. But the problem is you can accumulate it and you can have too much money. And so it stops being a signal and it starts being a thing you can hoard, and a way of gaining power.
Yeah.
And so it has a positive aspect in its signalling ability, but it has a negative aspect in its accumulation ability. It's accumulable. What we want is signals that are not accumulable.
Can you imagine some kind of law being passed to say that you can only have, a certain amount of money?
Well,
for yourself.
Be a worldwide law, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have to be like a global law, right? Okay, folks, you can only have blah, blah, blah amount of money divided up between everyone. That's it. At any one time in your bank account, you can have.
What happens if you go over that?
Then you
have to buy assets like gold, and then that gets you out of it, doesn't it? Do you mean you can only have a certain amount of assets?
Yeah, assets, yeah.
And what happens if you go over that asset register?
Why would
level?
you?
No, I mean, what happens? 100% tax? And then that means the government get it, doesn't it? And can we trust the government to redistribute it fairly?
Probably not. Not this government, anyway. Anyway, yeah, I suppose it is a bit kind of communism, but...
It's not that's not really communist, that's just socialist, really, in the sense that, we accept that, we have markets, we just want to control them. That's kind of socialist idea.
Because if you think about the people on the really bottom rungs of the financial ladder, people that are on benefits, it's dictated to them that they can have a certain amount each week or month. That's it. No more. That's it. That's all they've got, And why should that not be the case with everyone? Because if you've got someone who's relatively wealthy telling someone else who isn't that, oh no, that's plenty enough to live on, you can live on that blah 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 a week, no problem. You don't need any more than that, essentially. Then why shouldn't that be the case for everyone on the planet?
Yeah. I mean, the counter-argument will, of course, be you're taking away the motivation of people. And if people get demotivated, then what you'll see is scarcity. Because we won't be providing enough.
I don't think you would, because let's face it, a lot of the things that people are motivated on are completely unnecessary anyway. Really. Completely unnecessary. And if it was like that, I think people... So you see scarcity in unnecessary items? Yeah. So be it.
So all the smartphones, TVs,
it is unnecessary.
Computers.
See, this is kind of minimalism again, isn't it, really?
Shoes. You won't like that one.
No, I won't like that. But from a minimalist point of view, it is unnecessary, a lot of it. A lot of what people fill their time up with, a lot of what people do for a living, really, is an unnecessary thing and is not necessary to sustain life.